This is the LG UH7700. It's one of their newest Super UHD TVs, and it's hands down the best TV I've ever seen. LG is actually hooking you guys up with a giveaway of 2 of these TVs, which is insane. Details will be later in the video. And I will admit it right away, I've never done a TV review, so this is new to me as well. And I remember last year Samsung sent out a bunch of TVs to YouTubers to review, and I didn't make that list. So when LG offered this opportunity, I was like, absolutely. And LG did sponsor this video. Huge thanks to them for sending the TV out, but all the opinions within this video are entirely my own. So this is a TV, so let's start off with the screen. That's the most important part of a TV. This is a 65-inch display. There's also a 60-inch and a 55-inch model, but this is a 65-inch one. Of course, it's very thin, but it's 2016. You kind of expect your TVs to be pretty thin. You don't really have clunky TVs anymore. The bezel, it actually is worth noting that the bezel is nice and thin. It's silver. It's kind of an accent. It kind of adds more than it takes away. So I'm a fan. It looks kind of good. It doesn't get in the way, and it's pretty thin. Good bezel overall. The resolution of the screen is 4K, which is 4 times 1080p, for those of you that don't know, which is 3840 by 2160, which is really nice to have at such a large screen size. And LG also has some upscaling software within the TV, so even though a lot of the media that you'll be streaming or getting through cable was recorded and streamed in 1080p or even lower, LG will upscale that image to 4K and keep it sharp and looking good, so no matter what you're watching, it will look better on this TV. And this specific display is an IPS quantum display, and those are buzzwords. Basically what that means is you're getting really deep blacks, a lot of contrast, and a new wider color gamut than older TVs, so you get a lot more colors. It can display like 1 billion colors. Of course, that's just a number, but I can attest to it looking very lifelike and realistic and just looking really nice overall. And then the IPS aspect also means that you're getting good viewing angles, so it's not curved, it's flat, but no matter what angle you're looking at it, basically you're going to get the same exact color representation, which is great. Say you're in a family room and you have people sat all around it, you'll get the right colors no matter where you are, and those colors will be vibrant, beautiful, rich. Insert other good adjectives, just a very good picture overall. So one of the biggest features of this new TV are the picture modes, and I'll walk you through them and show you what's special about them. So this is a remote. You can just go to settings, then it'll pop up on the side. You can point towards picture mode, and you have a lot of options here. You have standard, like normal options to see, vivid, which will brighten everything up, more saturation, make it look good, standard, which is just exactly you see what you get from the streaming, wherever you're streaming it from, power saving mode, cinema mode, sports mode, game mode, which reduces the input lag, so you will have a quicker response from your TV if you're playing a video game, so there's no lag or like pause in between pressing a button and seeing it happen on screen. And then there's photo mode. I guess if you're viewing photos, it's more realistic. And then there's HDR. So HDR, it gives you more contrast within the picture that's on screen. And the special thing about these new LG TVs is they actually offer multiple, I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it on this and get out of the menus. It actually offers 2 types of HDR. It has HDR10, which is just regular HDR that will make any image look better and just have a higher dynamic range, which means there's more detail in the shadows and more detail in the brights. But there's also HDR Dolby Vision, and this is where things get special. So a lot of cinematographers and movie makers will make their movies for Dolby Vision, and a lot of movie theaters use Dolby Vision. And basically, if you have the Dolby Vision filter applied, it will apply this filter to the movie, and it basically is a filter. When I showed it to Byron, he said it looked like a filter, and it just makes it more realistic to what the director originally intended it to look like when he was filming it. And it does that processing instantly through the TV. And the catch here is that if you don't have HDR Dolby Vision enabled by default in your TV, you can't get it. It requires certain hardware, and this has the hardware built in, so you have both types of HDR built in, which is unique to just this singular TV. And you might be thinking, HDR Dolby Vision, I've never heard of that. It's probably not relevant, and it doesn't really matter. It is relevant, and it does matter. It can go through streaming services like Netflix and Vudu, which I'll talk more about in a second. But there are plenty of movies out there that already support Dolby Vision. There's Mad Max Fury Road, the Star Wars movie does it, Hardcore Henry does it, The Jungle Book has it. A lot of popular movies that are big titles support Dolby Vision, which really do enhance, as you can see in the slider that I just showed, it really does enhance the picture profile, and it looks a lot better, so it will improve your viewing experience. So this is also a smart TV, which is a lot of added functionality. The remote works with the smart TV functionality, so The first thing you'll notice, there's two special things with this remote. The first is this pointer you're seeing on screen, and there's definitely some software within there that makes the pointer smoother and more exact. You can see that I can move it really smoothly and almost keep it entirely still, even though my hands are definitely vibrating on the remote and stuff, where it would be vibrating on screen. But with the software they have in there, it is just stood still there. Well, not now, like right there. So it's really easy to use the pointer, and it's actually practical. There's also a voice search, so if you clicked the search button, it will load up the search menu. And then you can click the voice button and go Game of Thrones. And it will search Game of Thrones. So if you don't want to type with the keyboard using that pointer, it searches it for you. By the way, I'm on season 1 of Game of Thrones, loving it. If you haven't watched Game of Thrones, watch it, not a sponsor. But then the OS in general for the smart TV is called Webos, and it's LG's operating system basically, and it's pretty simple to navigate. So this is what the UI looks like, very modern. Live TV looks like that because I don't have cable plugged in because it's in the middle of a room for this video. But it looks very modern. You have things like Netflix, Amazon Video, Hulu Plus, Vudu, all of those are streaming services. And the thing worth noting here is that YouTube does render in 4K, so you can watch real 4K videos like there is in the background right now. Netflix, you can get 4K movies or TV shows like Breaking Bad. Amazon Video, you can get 4K. So 4K is readily available, and it's becoming more and more popular among the consumer options for media. So having a 4K TV, it's about time to get one. The media is coming out, 4K is there, so you're gonna wanna get a 4K TV sooner or later so you can actually enjoy that 4K content in all of its glory. And honestly, with all of this smart TV functionality, plus an Xbox One connected to it, I'm not gonna hook it up to cable. I really don't have a need for cable, and anything that's not on Netflix I can get on Amazon Video or Hulu, and then I'll have the Xbox for video games, and really that's all I need with my TV. It's very nice that it's built in. I didn't need a set-top box or an Apple TV or anything like that. Just all built right into the TV in an easily navigable user interface, and I'm a big fan. It's really easy to use, and it's practical, and it has all the programs that I need. Before I move on, here are the instructions to win one of the TVs that LG is giving away. So basically, all you need to do is tweet using the hashtag MSTechSweepstakes and tag @LGUS. But instead of remembering that, I'll keep a link in the description that's a click to tweet link. So you just follow that link and it will have the tweet pre-written out that will enter you successfully in the contest. You can just click tweet it and it will do it for you. And they are giving away 2, so definitely go enter. Moving on to the stand. This is a heavy TV. This TV is 60 pounds without the stand attached, just the TV unit itself. With the stand, 65 pounds. The whole package, 80 pounds. It's definitely a heavy TV. I needed somebody else to help bring it up the stairs. But with the stand, you're really not worried about any of that. It's a very big curved stand, but it's attractive. It's got a brushed metal look. I'll have some B-roll playing of it right now. So it really distributes the weight evenly, so you're not worried about it tilting or going anywhere or falling over. But it does have base mount compatibility, a 300 by 300 base mount. So if you want to get a robust wall mount and put it on your wall and have that floating look, you can by all means, but you do need to get a mount that can support a 60-pound TV. And honestly, the stand is more than enough for me, so I'll just be sticking with the stand. So moving on to the back and the I/O, this is the first part of this TV that didn't just instantly blow me out of the water as being absolutely perfect. So in terms of I/O, it's really not that expansive. You have 3 USB, 3 HDMI, you have a cable in, you have a component and composite in that use adapters, so you have to plug the cables into their individual cables and it adapts it into one thing. You have a LAN port if you're using Ethernet, and then you also have optical out for audio. And that's about it. Now that is totally fine if you're building a multimedia center now and you can have everything plugged in. Those are all the ports you'll need and you can make it work. But say you have an old multimedia center with a bunch of devices like a VCR, a DVD player, things that you would already have using like an HDMI cable with an Xbox, but older things used to have actual VCRs, DVD players, and a lot of extra cables, and you might struggle to find a place for every single thing that you have. Now that's really a problem only if you have a very complicated multimedia setup already and you're adapting to this TV. But if you're getting this TV, you're probably up with the times anyway, and you'll be completely fine. And then moving on to the power cable, I also wanted to mention this. Even though it's a huge, very powerful, great looking TV, the power cable is nice and thin and small, very easy to maneuver and manipulate and plug in. There's no power brick or anything, so that was just, I think that's just a nice touch, that there's nothing too bulky back there. All right, so let's move on to the last part of this TV that I want to mention, which is the speakers. So they're designed by Harman Kardon, they're 20-watt speakers, and they are downward firing, which is important to note that with a setup like this where the table is right underneath it, downward firing is better because it will bounce off of the table, come at you, and you will hear it, and backward firing would be bad here because there's no wall behind it. But say it was up against a wall or wall mounted on a wall and you were using the built-in speakers, backward firing would go against that wall and come back at you, so it wouldn't be quite as bad. Just, it is worth noting that they are downward firing, and they sound all right. I'll give you a sound test here and you'll see what I mean, and I'll talk about the sound after it plays. And I picked this song intentionally because you could see before the beat dropped, when it was mostly high frequencies and treble, the speakers were doing just fine because that's the type of speakers they are, they're mostly tweeters. And when it hit the bass drop and it was a lower frequency, it didn't perform as well and the highs were drowned out, which is basically the story of these speakers. So later in May, actually, I'll be doing a series building an entire 4K entertainment setup. Look forward to that. And that will of course have dedicated speakers and a dedicated subwoofer, and that will add a lot of immersion and a lot better sound quality to this setup and to your viewing experience. But the point is here that LG wanted to include a pair of speakers that sound good enough. You won't necessarily be missing out at all. Of course, it won't be as good quality, but you will still hear everything and you won't lose anything without getting a dedicated pair of speakers. Obviously, this TV is meant to display really good picture. The fact that they include speakers is just so you can watch and listen without buying dedicated speakers right away. It's an all-in-one package. So that's it for this video. Remember, if you want to win one of these, LG is giving away 2 to you guys. The rules will be in the description below. I mentioned them earlier, or you can just use the click to tweet link and then click tweet and you're entered if that's a little bit easier for you. Huge thanks to LG for sending this out. I am absolutely loving it in every way possible. Hands down, the best TV I've ever put my eyes on. Laid my eyes on, seen. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more content. And as always, stay classy.